Hello and welcome, it's Chris from Christopher Holt Training, and welcome to this tutorial where I'm going to talk about HIIT training or HIIT workouts won't get you fitter. Now there are some caveats and some nuances to that statement which I'm going to discuss. If you do have any comments or questions about anything that I do say in this, then please do pop them in the comments section below, because it's always good to help people's understanding and sort of clarify some points throughout what I'm saying. I'm going to be using some different references to explain certain parts of it. One is going to be, this is the qualification, the level 2 qualification, which is the entry level qualification for the fitness professionals in the UK. So if someone wants to become a fitness professional, they have to go through this or an equivalent qualification. The other one that I'm using is the CrossFit level 1 manual. So if I just scroll all the way down, you can see the CrossFit training guide, and again it's the level 1, so it's the entry level. I'm going to be talking about the individuals doing them as well, and how suitable they are for that person as well. So, fitness. Why do HIIT workouts not get you fitter? Well, the simple answer is they only focus on certain components of fitness. So fitness is made up of a number of components, and that's what I've got these two manuals here for, because we're going to find out what those are. Now, HIIT workouts only focus on a couple of them. They will focus on, well, in fact, let me go through them first. And then, so these are CrossFit's general physical skills. So cardiovascular, respiratory endurance, stamina, strength, flexibility, power, speed, coordination, agility, balance, and accuracy. So those are their 10 general physical skills. If we go to the entry level 2 qualification, we've got muscular endurance, cardiovascular endurance, muscular strength, flexibility, and these things called motor skills, which would be a category or an umbrella term for balance, coordination, so on and so forth. So when you do HIIT workouts, you're only focusing on cardiovascular and muscular endurance. There might be some elements of balance and coordination, but the main focus is to get your heart rate up, to get your breathing rate up, and to get your muscles working hard and you get a sweat on. So generally that will be cardiovascular and respiratory, and also the muscular endurance as well. So in that respect, they won't get you fit by what the definition of fit. I know most people don't understand that definition or have never heard that definition, but again, that's one of the sort of the nuances and caveats that come with the title that I've used. So it's understanding that. The next thing is thinking about who is going to be doing those workouts. Now, if you're on social media looking for a workout and you're following a celebrity or a fitness professional doing that, as a general rule, and again, the general rule, there will be some sort of outliers to these sort of generalized populations that I'm talking about. They will be beginners and they will be the bottom end of intermediate. If you are a more advanced style fitness enthusiast, let's say, you will generally have your own training regime, you will generally have a sport that you do, and you'll generally be able to have the motivation to train on your own or of your own accord. So you will set a time of the day and you will go and do it, so on and so forth. So as a general rule, they're beginners and bottom end of intermediate. So if we then take a look at those populations with regards to their fitness, generally, again, they will be at the lower end of it. So they will have a lower cardiovascular ability. They will have a lower muscular endurance ability. And what's then going to be happening to them is a HIIT workout is like a more advanced style of training. It's what we would describe as higher impact, and it will basically be a higher stress on the body. Now, if you are a beginner putting a high stress on the body will be reactive to that, and it will potentially tighten up joints. It will potentially create muscle spasms. In a second, I'm going to talk about injuries and how they manifest. So that will be another sort of part of why they don't make you fitter. So what we have is, first of all, a workout that is working on very specific parts of fitness. You've then got a population that are at the beginner end of the scale, so they don't necessarily have the physical capacity to complete these workouts as effectively as they need to be completed. And the final part is the injuries part. So how do injuries manifest? Well, most of injuries will fall under, well, they don't necessarily fall under this category by definition in textbooks, but the more and more I work with people who are injured as a sports massage therapist, what I tend to find is that it's a repetitive strain type injury. Now, what that basically means is you're not using your body, you're not moving your body well, and you're moving your body too much than it can cope with. So what we have to do is we have to understand that these beginners and these sort of bottom end intermediates, what their body can cope with. They can't necessarily cope with these higher intensity workouts over a prolonged period of time, because their bodies, their muscles, their joints will tighten up, aches and pains will start to manifest over a period of time, and that in a sense will take them, so they've kind of gone forward one step, but then they'll go back 2 steps because an injury will start to manifest. So we have to understand sort of, I guess, sort of like these 3 parts of why people are doing, or what workouts people should be doing. And the HIIT training workouts will really, for more advanced type fitness enthusiast or athletes or whatever you want to call them, for the simple reason being that they will manage their exercise with their recovery. And when I mean recovery, I don't just mean sitting on a sofa having a day off sort of thing and not doing any exercise. I mean stretching, foam rolling, maybe a massage therapy or a chiropractic or an osteopath for general maintenance. They will tend to do those types of things more so than a beginner would. So it's understanding and getting that balance between exercise and recovery. Now again, there's a lot I could sort of go off on tangents and explain and go deeper into recovery and exercise and different types of workouts on like the high intensity to low intensity type of thing, but this isn't the place for that. So what I kind of want to summarize and say, that if you are a beginner and at the bottom end of intermediate with regards to doing exercise, I wouldn't advise HIIT training, for the simple reason your body isn't in a position to be able to cope with those stresses. You might not have the sort of movement competence, i.e. be able to get into the correct technique and then complete the exercise as it's meant to be completed. Because again, HIIT training workouts, not only they're high intense, generally they're done quite fast. So with people that are at the beginner end of the scale, they can't generally not coordinate their body, but they can't comprehend what their body is doing. So for example, if I'm in a gym with someone, I'll get them doing like a big movement. I might get them to do it fast, and then I'll ask them to say, right, where on your body could you feel that? Could you feel what your abdominal muscles were doing? Could you feel what your shoulder muscles were doing? And generally their answer will be, no, I was just concentrating on completing the movement. So they were moving the dumbbell or the kettlebell or the cable handle. They were moving it from where they started to where I was asking them to finish. And they weren't sort of thinking, oh, what's my hip doing? What's my core doing? What's my shoulder doing? They weren't focused on that because their brain can't compute it. So what we need to be able to do is build that skill level. So we're not just building the cardiovascular fitness and the muscular endurance, the muscular strength, the, what else did they have? The speed, the power, and all that sort of. We're not just building that. We're building a movement capacity and a movement competency to be able to move in those positions and understand what your body's doing. Because when you're doing the HIIT workouts, you're going to be moving very fast, and you're going to need to know, if you're squatting, what are your knees doing? What are your hips doing? What's your spine doing? Is it rounding? Are your knees dropping in? So you've got all these different things to think about. What are your feet doing? Are your arches collapsing? Are your toes turning out? So you've got a lot of things to think about during these exercises that you're going to be doing very fast. So you're not going to be thinking about them, which is going to leave you more prone to an injury. So you've got to be thinking about that when you do these HIIT workouts, because I didn't really mention this at the start, but I'm not here to tell you not to do the HIIT workouts. I'm here to inform you, because if I can help inform you about what fitness is, sort of where you are on the scale of beginner to advanced and how that fits with these HIIT workouts. If I can share, again, I've only touched like the sort of peak of the iceberg, the peak of the iceberg, if you want to call it, with regards to injuries. But essentially, if you can't put your body in the right position, and if you do that a lot, then you're going to be increasing your risk of injury. If you come out of that workout very fatigued, and then you go about doing everyday activities and you're bending over incorrectly and you're fatigued and your muscles aren't holding your body properly, again, you're increasing your risk of fatigue and your risk of injury. So you've got to be aware of these things, because what you might find that a HIIT training workout might not be suitable for you, or only a certain type of exercise might be suitable for you within the HIIT training workouts, again, which I haven't even discussed. So again, it's not there to deter you from doing it. It's there to think about, is this advisable for me in my current physical state? Because again, as I mentioned, they are generally beginners and the bottom end of intermediates that are following these celebrities and fit pros to then go and do these workouts. So take this as education, not as you know, a sort of a telling off, if you want to call it that. Take it as an education and just think about, is HIIT training suitable for you? If you want to do it, go and do it. If you then start to get aches and pains, just be mindful that the HIIT training workout potentially, and there's probably a higher potential, it has contributed to that ache or pain, to that injury. So hopefully this has been helpful. Hopefully it's given you a bit of a better understanding of HIIT training. Hopefully it's given you a bit of a better understanding of your body, and hopefully it's given you a bit of a better understanding of how to complete exercises, in so much as have a good movement competency and know what your body is doing during those exercises, so you don't so you don't increase your risk of injury. So many thanks for watching. My name is Chris from Chris for Whole Training. I will speak to you in a future tutorial.